Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Today is going to be an exciting day here on the homestead. Something that we've been waiting for a long time, and that is to finally start moving the pigs down to our farm property. We showed you a couple weeks ago that we were working on Charlie's pen. That is now complete. I'm going to show you how all of that turned out today. And then we're going to go back to the homestead. We're going to first get Charlie's shelter, move that down here to his new paddock, and then we're going to go back and get Charlie and move him down, and he will officially be our very first pig here at the farm property. After we get Charlie moved, we'll be able to start taking apart his current pen. I've already calculated that the panels from his current pen will be enough panels to complete the next pen here at the farm property. And then it's just going to be, moving one set of pigs after another until we get all of the pigs moved down here to the farm property. We're so excited for this to start to happen. This will officially mean that we have no animals left at the homestead property. Everything is down here at the new property. And hopefully soon we'll also have a house down here. So let me take you around the new pig pen. I'm going to show you what's going on, show you what I've done since the last video, and then we'll head back to the homestead so that we can start getting all the things that we need, including Charlie, to move down here. The first thing is that you can see that I've got the electric wire installed inside of the hog panels. You saw us putting up the hog panels on the last video, but this electric wire is what keeps them from trying to root kind of underneath the actual panels. So we have just one strand here. It's already on, so I'm not going to touch it. You can see that it's about 8 inches off the ground. I found that this is a good height for the IPPs. And this is, right now, I checked it a couple days ago, it's about 8,000 volts running through. So I think that is plenty strong. I don't think Charlie will try to dig under here. For this, I've decided to use the poly braid electric rope. To me, it just works a little bit better. It's easier to put up, and if we need to take it down, it's easier to wind back up. So I really like this electro braid, and then we're just using fiberglass poles instead of attaching it directly to the T-posts. Again, this makes it so that each pen is more on its own versus being kind of connected to the other pens. So each pen will have its own electric fence as we build these on the inside, and then we'll just run a jumper from one to the other. So if we ever need to, we can just disconnect that jumper and turn off the power to one individual pen and not have to turn off the power to every pen along this row. So that's going to work out really well. We're excited about that. There's a couple other things we're doing differently here this time than we did at the homestead. Let me show you that as well. If you may remember, at the homestead property, what we were doing for water is we had a gravity-fed system with little drinker bowls attached to the feeding stations that we use. And those have worked pretty well over time, but I have found that they leak quite a bit as they get dirty and things. And especially with the gravity-fed system, they seem to clog up, and there's quite a few times I need to go out there and take them apart. So we've decided to move away from that system. And this time we're going to go back to what we used to do, which is to use the water barrels with the nipples on it. You can see there's two nipples on this one here for Charlie. And basically what will happen is the pig will come up and just put its mouth on there, the water will run out, and that's how they can drink. Now, I'm not sure if Charlie has ever been exposed to one of these prior to coming to us, so I'm going to assume that he's not, so it's going to take a little bit of training to get him used to it. What I'll do today is when we move him down here, I'll bring a bowl along. We'll put a bowl of water right here underneath it, and he'll start to learn that this is where he comes from water. And I don't think it'll take him long at all to figure out that water comes out of this barrel. I've already got this filled up for him, and I think this is going to work really well. It's also, we're going to do one of these for every pen as we go down, as we build them. I was able to pick up these barrels, so we'll be getting those all set as we move down the line. Now, another thing that we're doing differently this time is we're not going to be doing the feeding stations that we've done in the past. While I did really like the feeding stations, they just haven't held up well over time. There's a lot of different reasons why. In Charlie's case, if we had like a trough, when I originally built those, I built like a trough so we could feed in that trough. Well, Charlie liked to lay in the trough when there was no food in it, and he broke that thing probably a dozen times before I finally gave up and just took it off and started feeding him right on the platform. But also just the lumber itself just hasn't held up well over time, between the pigs rubbing on it and even chewing on it from time to time. It just hasn't held up. Because they do sometimes chew on the edges of it, I don't like to use pressure treated. We did use pressure treated for the bottom boards, the 4x4s on the bottom, but the actual platform we didn't. That could be part of the reason it hasn't held up well, but whatever the case, with the price of lumber, I just can't justify building all new ones, and the ones that are at the homestead are just not in good enough shape to move down here. So we'll just be taking those apart, saving the boards that are still usable for other projects, and for now we're going to go back to just feeding on the ground, which really has worked out the best over time anyway. So Charlie's going to be getting quite an upgrade on his pen. His current pen is a lot smaller than what this pen is. This pen is 36 feet wide by 128 feet long. I think this will be a good size for Charlie, probably forever. But eventually, we'll be building another pen exactly the same size right next door to this. Temporarily, that will be where our sows will go, so that we can move them down here and start taking apart their pen at the homestead. But eventually, they'll move to an even bigger pen that will be right next to that. And then these two pens here will be where Charlie can rotate back and forth. So Charlie's really going to have, you know, the cream of the crop here. He's going to have two huge pens to be able to rotate through. I think it's going to work out really well for him. We're getting his wallow filled up. We were able to run a hose from a hose bib that we have in our orchard area, which isn't too far. It's just kind of right over there. If you guys aren't familiar with the layout of our property, it's kind of right behind the camera. And last year when we had all those hose bibs we put one at the back side here, which is perfect. So I'm able to run a hose all the way over, and I'll be able to run a hose to all of these pens, which is really nice to have running water and not have to haul it with the tractor like I've had to do at the homestead property. So that's going to work out really well. So as soon as Charlie's wallow here is finished filling up, we're going to head back to the homestead. Like I said, first we're going to move his shelter, and then we'll go back and we'll get him. And I think he's going to have a great day here at his new home. We're back at the homestead, and it is time to move Charlie's shelter out of his current pen and get it down to the farm. Now, for our pigs, we use what are called Porta Huts. You can see it there behind me. It's a metal shelter. And believe it or not, they don't get very warm in the summer. A lot of people have that question. On the back side, there's a vent that folds down and allows the heat to get out. So it provides pretty good airflow, which keeps it cooler underneath the shelter. In the winter, you can put that vent up so that there aren't a lot of cold winds blowing through there. So it really works pretty well. These shelters are pretty heavy, so it's going to be quite a chore to get this out of here. But I do think it's important to get the shelter down to the farm first before we move Charlie. You may notice that Charlie's current pen here at the homestead has a lot of shade, and his new pen down at the farm doesn't have much shade. In fact, we purposely picked an area to build the new pens that there aren't a lot of trees. When we first started raising pigs here in Missouri, we actually had them back in a wooded area, and well, for a lot of reasons that didn't work out. But I want to show you here in Charlie's pen, because this is a good example of why we decided not to pick an area with trees this time. Let's go over to this section where you can see a bunch of trees in Charlie's pen. So you can see there's a nice patch of trees here in Charlie's pen. But if you notice down here on the bottom, now Charlie's been in this pen for about a year. You can see down here on the bottom, just from him rubbing up against it, because pigs like to scratch themselves on things, he's completely rubbed all of the bark off the bottom of these trees. Some of the bigger ones still have some bark on them, but you can see a lot of them don't. So eventually, that's probably going to kill this tree. And we didn't want that again down at the farm property. So I think his shelter that we take down will be plenty of shade for him. Plus, we're very good about making sure the pigs always have a wallow to cool off in. But if not, we'll come up with other creative ways to give them even more shade. But you guys, trees in our situation just isn't the right way to go. And I think in the long run, it'll be a wise decision. All right, let's go get Charlie's shelter, which honestly, it looks like he just went in to try to take a nap. So we're going to have to get him back out, and then let's get his shelter so we move down to the farm. Charlie has no idea what a big day he's in for today, but I bet he's going to be a happy pig in his new home. It's not nap time yet. We got to move your house. Well, this might be more interesting than we thought, because Charlie is a sound sleeper, and when he decides that it's nap time, he usually doesn't want to move. So we may have to trick him with some feed or something else if we can't get him up. All right, we need to get to work. Got it. Ready? Ready. Let me come help you. So we'll lift this up and pull, and the back's just gonna fall. So keep holding this up. Ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, when we put this on the trailer, let's put the back in first, so that when we're driving to the farm, it doesn't sail off the trailer. Stump. Let's set this.
Careful now.
All right. All right, let's head down to the farm. Ready?
All right, let's turn it.
Oh.
All right. All right, let's see. Want some help? Or no? All right.
It's through.
Awesome. Yeah. Lost the ratchet strap. Ooh.
There, I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
It's time to start loading Charlie into the trailer. We did a little bit of work off camera. We got kind of a makeshift kind of chute here built for him out of some extra hog panels that we had. So his gate for his pen is over here. We'll open that up. We'll try to get him out into this area. We've made kind of a rounded chute here up to the trailer. It's a little bit bigger and wider of a chute than I would like. Basically, with most animals, if you can get them into kind of a narrow chute, you can keep them moving along. This gives them a little more room to kind of have a mind of his own and turn around and stuff. But it's the best we could do in this area. So we're just going to make the best out of it that we can. So because Charlie is a big guy and has tusks, and even though he's not mean, he can hurt you just on accident by being agitated. So we're going to try to make this as calm as we can for Charlie, and hopefully we'll be able to do this relatively quickly and get him down to the farm. Well, it's the next morning. We tried for about 2 hours yesterday to get Charlie to come out of his pen, and he was having no part of it. It was so hot out, all he wanted to do was go lay in the shade. So we're back this morning. We're going to try again. We did not feed Charlie last night in hopes that he'll be more hungry this morning and motivated by his feed. We do have what we call a pig board, which is a board that we can use to kind of push the pigs along. But Charlie, first of all, gets so agitated by the pig board that it makes him more worked up than it does if we just try to be calm with him. And also because we don't have an alleyway set up inside of his pen, the pig board really doesn't help a whole lot. So what we ended up doing is we reinforced this alleyway that we made out here, and I made this little piece of hog panel here so that it can swing. So what I'm hoping is that Charlie will come out, if we can get him as far as this ramp, then I can swing this around and hopefully stand on this enough that he'll decide that his only option is to go up into the trailer. So that's the plan for this morning. We're absolutely not going to feed Charlie in his pen, because if he gets fed this morning in there, he has no motivation to come out here. Well, you guys, we finally got Charlie into the trailer. It happened finally at about 9 o'clock last night, so it took 2 full days to get him into the trailer. We just had to be patient and basically let him come out of his pen area on his own timing. He finally did come out into this area that we had set up for, where we had his feed. And when he did, we were able then to swing one of these pieces of hog panel. And when we did that, we kind of swung it behind him, and that made him just kind of run into the trailer. So it ended up working out. Just set us back about 2 days. I was hoping to already be disassembling his pen and be moving it down to the farm, but that's not going to happen now, probably for a couple days. So, but we're going to move Charlie down to the farm this morning, and we're going to get him in his new pen and see how he likes it. Well, we're down at the farm. I was able to get the trailer in here by Charlie's new pen. I took a cattle panel that we had down here and just made kind of a temporary fence right here off the side of the trailer and over to this post, so that when I open the door on the trailer, now I'm not going to use the sliding door, I'm going to open this all the way up to block this right here. Charlie should be able to come out, and his only option should be go into his new pen. So hopefully everything goes smoothly. Let's let Charlie out and see how he likes his new house. Hey, Charlie. You gonna come out? Look at your new home, Charlie. You got a lot of grass to eat. Well, it looks like, as of right now, Charlie's new wallow doesn't hold water real well, but typically pigs will seal off something like this so that it will hold water better. We need to get Charlie a drink because he hasn't had water in that trailer overnight, which isn't a big deal, but he's thirsty. Here, Charlie, your water's gonna go over here. No, that's not a wallow. Don't lay in it. There, we'll fill your wallow back up. I guess he's not too mad at us locking him in the trailer overnight. Well, it's official. Our very first pig is moved to the farm property. That is an exciting thing. Now we just have to finish building pens and we get everybody else moved down here. Now the cattle, I don't think they've ever seen a pig before because they are standing at the fence line wondering what the heck they're looking at. But I think they're going to get used to seeing pigs down here at the farm. Well, we're going to finish getting Charlie's wallow filled up for him. It's going to be another hot day. I think Charlie is going to love being here in his new home. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I guess over the course of a couple days because this didn't go as quickly as we had hoped. But we finally got it accomplished. Charlie's here at the farm. Now we can start taking apart his pen at the homestead. Hey, if you're enjoying our channel, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button before you leave. Don't forget that the best way that you can help us here on the homestead is simply by sharing our videos on all of your social media. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care, and God bless.